Are you looking to take apart your brake barrel pellet gun, completely disassemble it, clean it, re-oil it, and put it back together, and in the process, learn a few things? If so, you're in the right place. So I'm just going to get right into it. I don't want to waste your time. Don't want you to skip to the next video. I want to make this as easy as possible, as quick as possible, so you can get the most out of this. You need a drill or a screwdriver. You're going to need a clamp press that can handle a lot of pressure. I mean, this one does 5,000 pounds of pressure. You're going to need a wrench, 2 different size bits, just a little, something that looks like this. You'll see why. Some silicone oil or some M77, Molly 60, Honda Molly 60, whatever floats your boat. There's a lot of malarkey out there, so you just kind of got to pick whatever one works best for you. But for today, I'm just going to clean out all the gook and stuff that's in there from all the other oils that I've used and been trying out, and I'm just going to replace it with silicone. Let's just get right into it. This is the Crosman F11. Most of these brake barrel, piston, or spring models, the F4, F11, and many others that are just like this, they usually have 2 screws right here on the gun, and then there's usually the 3rd screw that holds the whole contraption in together. This holds the barrel to this part, and then there's this other screw here. So usually you need 2 bits. There's the smaller one, so we'll just get right into it and take these out. Make sure you keep these in a spot where you know where you're gonna know where they're at. Take out the other one. Switch out your bit. Get the bigger bit. You're going to need a little bit of length, so don't put it in there too far. So for the F11 Crosman, it's this big one right here. When you take this out, you just slide it out like that, and you'll notice right in here, there's this little metal piece. That's what holds it in there with that screw. Okay, put this aside. There is this cap that you're going to have to take off next. And now, there's usually, in most of these models, there's this square. This is where that big piece goes into and holds the body to this part. So just take your wrench, figure out the size here. Take that off. Now you can go crazy and take off the barrel, but it's not necessary. There's another way of doing that. You can do that if you want to, but this metal's pretty strong, so you can actually clamp it on like this. So there's actually this spot right here that you can put your vice clamp like that, okay? And then the round part of this is going to go on where the piston is. And there's this. Okay, so some models only have this piece holding the piston in. But for this model, and I'm pretty sure the F4, don't quote me on that, it has that screw part and also this big piece of metal that goes right through the bolt that holds the piston in place. So what we're going to do is put that down there, take that flat round part. Okay, make sure that part is on there, nice and secure. Take this round part and just make sure that it stays nice and centered so you're actually pressing in the right area. As soon as you get it, all the pressure off, that bolt should just slide right out like butter. Just make sure it's lined up good. Okay, now that I got the pressure off, it should just slide right out. You see that? Just slid right out, no problem. So there you go. So when you're gonna do this slowly, and make sure you hold it so it doesn't slip off, just slowly undo it as that piston will come out. There you go. So now you can take this piece out. This is where the piston, the small end of the piston. All right, so next, what you want to do is break the barrel. Just like that, just release it. Okay. Now there is this little plastic guide right here. You can take that off if you like. It's on there pretty good for me, so I'm just going to leave it on there. Some people like to take that off when they do this stuff. There's also the wheel there. I'm just going to leave that on. So you break the barrel like this, all right? And so what you can do with the trigger is you can just slide it out like that, and then it should just pop right out for you. There we go. You pop that out, and it can come off just like that, all right? Now, this can be tricky, but if you pay attention to what I'm saying and how I'm doing this, you just really try to understand what I'm saying, you won't have a problem putting this back in, okay? So just pay attention. All right, put this off to the side. So now this piece can easily just come out like this. So you push it down, and there's a little hole there. You put it all the way to the end, and it should just come right out just like that, okay? So now you take your little tiny wrench or whatever you got. You want to have something, it's just like a little wrench, and you want something with like a little flat spot. Not something too big. For me, this works just fine. So what you do is just, so there's the piston in here, and then there's the piston case. So we're going to slide out the piston and the piston case, and you'll see it's one unit right now. You slide this out. Okay. So if you want to change your piston, make sure that you have the right size piston and everything. So you can change your piston and make sure that this thing doesn't get any oil on it. Make sure that it's nice and clean. Don't ever get any oil on this thing. Don't let any oil get down in there. Keep this nice and clean and dry. Put the piston off to the side. All right, so this piece right here. This is the piece that's probably going to be really dirty. Okay? And this is just, this black here is just soot from the metal and oil burning up. Different types that I've been using, just seeing what works the best. Some oils are really explosive, and you get 10 or 20 really good shots before you got to re-oil up because of the intense dieseling. Other oils, it doesn't really ignite. It just allows really nice lubrication and allows you to get lots of good clean shots. So you just want to really clean this thing off really good. And for this, I haven't figured out what that hole is for. I don't know if it was because they were tuning it for the Canadian version or what, but I filled it in because I don't know why it was there. It should be flat, so I just filled it in with some JB Weld because I figured it would help with the air pressure. Anyways, all right, so clean this off really good. Make sure there's no anything on it. All right. Now, you can take some wire and spin it together, or you get yourself a coat hook. So what you want to do is just kind of have an end like this. Take a piece of paper towel, fold it up like so. Okay, so I just kind of put it in like this, bend it down, wrap it around, nice and tight, and then bend it down like this. And now I have something that can go down inside this and get all that nasty stuff out, especially the stuff that's going to be down near where the pressure exit hole is that goes into the pellet. So you just want to get this in there. Go all the way down to the bottom. And just kind of spin it around. Mess with it a little bit. Make sure you get everything out. Really spin it around, because down at the end, where that piston seal hits, if you got a lot of burnt and soot and stuff like that after months of shooting, or just even a week of a lot of shooting, you have a lot of crap down there. You want to make sure that you get it all out really good. See all that? You can also take a light, shine it down there, and make sure that you got it all. This thing has been cleaned fairly recently, So I'm quite confident it's doing all right. Just spin it around. Make sure I get it all. Make sure that if you do upsize your piston, make sure that it can fit in here properly and it can actually hit the very end. Make sure that it can go to the very end and it's nice and snug and flush at the end. Some of these are not made quite well on the inside, and if you do have a bigger piston, it cannot go in all the way. You might have to buff the inside of it. Right? That's all you got to do to replace your piston. Right here, you just take it out, slide it on in, you're all good to go. Make sure it's nice and clean. Now for this. The thing about these plastic, synthetic, rubbery type seals is with certain oils and petroleum products, it can eat away at this over time. To prevent all that, get yourself some silicone chamber oil. This stuff is Crosman silicone chamber oil. This is going to ensure that this seal stays nice and lubricated and doesn't get eaten all up. Now, you want to make sure that you lubricate this part because there's metal to metal friction going inside there. So you want to make sure that you have some in behind the seal. Not much, just a little bit. It says not to get it on your hands, but I've done it many times and I'm fine. So just make sure that it's on the back of the seal and that there's a little bit inside the crevice of the seal, and just kind of lightly cover the outside right here. Just make sure that's all lubricated well. Now, if you use too much, you will get a bit of dieseling with silicone. It seems every bit of oil will explode or just almost explode, and you'll get a few pressurized shots, maybe up to 20 of them, especially if you're running them through the cranny. Remember what I said, make sure that you're not going to get any lubrication on your piston. You don't want anything going inside the piston. So you just want to, usually I use Q-tips, but I forgot. I'm not going to go get it. You can use other greases, different kinds, but just remember, if you're using petroleum, it's probably going to ignite and cook up, not last long. So silicone seems to do a pretty good job. And if you notice your gun's not shooting as fast after so many shots, you can take it apart like this and oil it up, or you can simply just drop it inside that hole right there, the exit hole where the air pressure comes out. So make sure this is all well lubricated and good to go. Now all you have to do is take this piece. First, you're not gonna put the piston in yet. So take this, slide it in there, and make sure that that opening is coming through here through the bottom. Just slide that in there like so. Take your little thing here, push it down, and push it down. We're up here. Work that lubrication around a little bit. Get the inside of that chamber all nice and lubed up. It feels pretty damn good now. Feels freaking awesome. Get that in there. Alright, so make sure that this is in all the way. Make sure that it's lined up nice. And near this end here, just wipe that out. You don't need that in there. That's going to end up just creeping into your piston. So just get that bit of silicone oil out. Now for this trigger. This can be easy if you use your brain and listen. Just take the trigger, put it back onto this piece like this. See? Just like that. And now, this part is the only tricky part in the whole operation. You see these two parts right here? You want them to just catch on to these corners. Okay? And what you're going to want to do, see this little section right here? Inside this piece, what you need to do with your little tool is hook onto this piece and push it up nice and flush. This section right here, this little piece, is what's going to set on there. inside. So you're going to need to take your thing, push it up like this, like that, and then push the whole mechanism forward. So it's going to be like this on the inside. You're going to push it up through, and then you're just going to want it to set just like that. Okay? So I'll show you the best way that I do this. I normally do it on my lap. So you just put it in like this. First hook this on there. Make sure that's hooked on there like that. Okay? Put that in there. Hook on those two corners. Like that. Okay? Now, you have it just like this. What you're going to want to do is pull this long piece. Okay? And at the same time, you want to push the trigger. That's going to allow that piece to be nice and flush. So you pull that long piece, push the trigger. You need to go inside, get that little hook, push it up nice and flush. And then slide it back. And now you can see that piece I was talking about is nice and flush on there, and it's in properly. Now this thing will function and work properly. Okay, now next step. You want to take your piston, put your piston in. Make sure that's in there properly. Now, make sure you hold this. Just for safety precautions, you might want to put that piece in there so it doesn't pop out on you, because that can be a real pain. All right, so you want to pull this forward. Just pop it right in there like that. Oh, just like that. And then bring it forward. Make sure that little piece didn't fall out there. Okay. And now you pull that forward, and then, boom, it should be back in place. All right. And I held that in there because I had it pop out on me before. I didn't want to have to go through that again. But anyway, so yeah, you pop that back in place. You have it just like this. Now what you want to do is you want to take this piece. Make sure that little spot is in there just like this. Just like that. And now what you want to do is take your vise, just like before, but in reverse. Make sure that hole is lined up perfectly. Make sure that you have control of this thing and that it's going on nice and straight. Okay, now that it's lined up, you might need to take your little tool. Sometimes, if you can't get it like this, you could tap it with a hammer, but just slide it on there nice and flush. And now you take your piece, and it should slide in there with ease. Slide that piece. See how it slides in just like no problem? And now what you want to do is just back that out. Make sure it's nice and flush on both sides. There you go. Just like that. Now you take this piece. Make sure that your end piece is on there. Pop that on there like that. Take this bolt. Put that in there. Grab your pliers. Crank that on there. Make sure it's nice and snug, not too snug. Just like that. Take the body, take this metal piece, slide it in there. Like so. Take your piece, fit it back in there like that. Take the big bolt. Make sure that's in there good. Get your other. There you go. Just like that. So there you go, folks. I hope that this really helped out a lot of people. Now you know how to change your piston, you know how to clean it, you know how to change the oil, all the basics to make sure that it's nice and clean, all oiled up. You can change your piston if need be. So yeah, there you go. She's ready to fire. She's ready to rock and roll. So thanks for watching. And also, I had 98 subscribers at this point. So basically, I'm at 100. It's crazy. Imagine 100 people in front of me. 100 people like my stuff. If you're one of those 100 people, thank you. You're awesome. I'll keep coming out more videos like this as time goes on. At the same time as working on 2 other channels, so subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Like the video if this helped you. I really hope that I did this in a way where I made it simple and easy. My next video like this will be for my PCP Fusion 2. So yeah, survival camp. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for watching.